So coming to the E5 term, what you have till now, what you have derived was E1, E2, as well as E3 and E4. So E4 you had got it as E4 is equal to E0, e to the power minus j theta, e to the power minus j3 beta 1 L, e to the power j3 pi by 2. Similarly, E3 is equal to E0 e to the power minus j theta, e to the power minus j3 beta 1 L. Similarly, E2 is,
Excuse me, ma'am.
yeah, just tell me.
Ma'am, actually, I had my presentation today
Yeah, you
on
have.
WaveGuide.
Yeah, I know. We have to complete this, no? Then only we can go to the next topic.
Yeah, okay, ma'am. Sure.
Yeah. So we have E2. So E2, it is equal to E1, e to the power j pi by 2. Similarly, next we have E1, which we have derived. That is E1 is equal to E0, e to the power minus j beta 1 L. Now next we have to derive for E5. So to derive for E5, E5 is equal to, which is nothing but, if you see that phasor diagram of the precision phase shifter, in the phasor diagram, it is having the E3 and E5 and E6 component. This figure, just a minute, I'll share. So if you go to the precision phase shifter, so you can see here the E6 figure and E5 and E6 figure. If this is E5 and E6 figure, the E5 term is belonging to E3 term. The rotation is anti-clockwise. Similarly, E6 term is with respect to the E4 term. So you'll be writing this similarly like your first and second terms. So when you write E5, it is with respect to E3 cos theta, which is the horizontal portion of the component. Other will be E4 sin theta. Similarly, when you go for E6, it will be E4 cos theta minus E3 sin theta. So if we write the equations for both E5 and E6, so E5 will be E3 cos theta plus E4 sin theta into, again, the phasor term, that is e to the power minus j beta 1 L, which is also equal to, now you have to write for, sorry, this is, so E3, you know the term, it is E0 e to the power minus j theta, e to the power minus j 3 beta 1 L, substitute it here. So E0 e to the power minus j theta, e to the power minus j 3 beta 1 L cos theta plus, substitute E4 term. So you'll have E0 e to the power minus j theta, e to the power minus j 3 beta 1 L, e to the power 3 pi by 2 into e to the power minus j beta 1 L. Now take out the common terms. So E0 you can take it common. Then you have cos theta plus e to the power j 3 pi by 2 sin theta. Again, the remaining common terms you can take is e power minus j theta, e to the power minus j 3 beta 1 L, and this one, that is e to the power minus j beta 1 L. Now, similarly, like your previous, you will be applying the formulas here. What will be e to the power j 3 by 2? 3 pi by 2. What will be e to the power j 3 pi by 2? E power j theta formula
Cos 3 pi by 2
cos 3 pi by 2
plus
plus
sin 3 pi by 2.
j sine 3 pi by 2. What is the value of cos 3 pi by 2?
0, ma'am.
0 plus j sine 3 by 2 will be 1. So it is j. So the answer will be j. So if you substitute it here, so you'll get the formula as E naught into cos theta plus j sine theta into e to the power minus j theta, e to the power minus, this will be 4, j 3 beta 1 minus j beta 1. So you'll have 4 beta 1 L. Similarly, now you know it is, which is equal to E naught e to the power j theta cos theta plus j sine theta, e to the power minus j theta, e to the power minus j 4 beta 1 L. So now you need to write the equation for E6. So if you check out the precision rectifier, precision phase shifter. So next term which we'll be writing for the E6. E6 will have E4 cos theta as well as E5 sin theta. So if you see the derivation here, j 3 pi by 2. So the E5 term we have got this E naught e power minus j theta e to the power j beta L. Similarly, E naught j 3 pi by 2. Just check the j 3 pi by 2 value of sine 3
It is
pi by 2.
-1, ma'am.
It's minus.
Sine
No?
3 by 2.
Yeah. So if it is minus, then we have to change here because that term will not get cancelled. So this value of this will be minus. So it is minus j. So you'll have minus j here. And here also it will be e to the power minus j theta. So you'll have E naught. This will be e to the power minus 2 j theta, e to the power minus j 4 beta 1 L. So this is the final equation of E5. See, first consider E5 equation. Write the components horizontal and vertical based on that phasor diagram. Then substitute E3 value, substitute E4 value, take out the common terms. You will have cos theta plus e power j 3 pi by 2 sin theta. E power j 3 pi by 2 is in the form of e power j theta. Write the formula sin cos theta plus j sin theta. So you'll get the value as minus j. Substitute it here, cos theta minus j sin theta. We'll have e power minus j theta. E power minus j theta, e power minus j theta will become e power minus 2 j theta, e to the power minus j 4 beta 1 L. So next we'll move to E6. I'll clear the screen. Now E6 will be quite opposite of your E5. That will be horizontal term will be E4 cos theta minus E3 sin theta. Again, the term you have, that is e to the power minus j. This will be with respect to beta 2L. So again, if you substitute E4 here, E4 values E naught, e power minus j theta, e to the power minus j3 beta 2L. Then you have e to the power j 3 pi by 2 cos theta minus E3 value is E naught e to the power minus j theta, e to the power minus j 3 beta 1 L sin theta into e to the power minus j beta 2 L. Now again take the terms common. E naught you can take. Sorry?
Ma'am, in E4 it is beta 1L, no, ma'am.
E4 it is?
E to the power minus
Yeah,
j
yeah,
3.
yeah. This is beta
E
1.
power
Beta. Yeah, yeah.
minus
Correct.
j
Correct.
beta.
This is beta 1. Then E naught. So you can write the remaining terms. e to the power j 3 by 2 will be extra because these two you can take it outside. Cos theta minus sin theta into e to the power minus j theta, e to the power minus j beta 1L. Sorry, there is 3 here. E to the power minus j beta 2L. Now the next condition is, we know from the previous, e to the power j 3 pi by 2 value will be minus j. So substitute it here. E naught minus j cos theta minus sin theta e to the power minus j theta e to the power minus j 3 beta 1L. Now instead of B2, you have to substitute in terms of B1. So what is B2 value in terms of B1? How did you write for B2L?
B1L minus 90 degree.
B1L minus 90 degree, I'll write it as pi by 2. So this equation we need in terms of cos plus j or cos minus j. So take out minus j outside. So it is minus j. If you take out outside, the remaining term will be cos theta. This will be plus sin theta divided by j. This is again e power minus j theta e to the power minus j 3 beta 1L. This is e to the power minus j. Split the terms, b1L e to the power plus j pi by 2. Consider E6. Substitute the values of E4, E3 from the previous equations. Take out E naught outside. Substitute for e power j 3 pi by 2 as minus j. From this, again beta 2L, you know it is beta 1L minus pi by 2. Take out minus j outside, you will have cos theta plus sin theta divided by j e power minus j theta. This equation, split these terms. So I'll clear the screen. Now after this, you need to write the equations for, or if you just simplify this equation. So you can take the middle term after cos theta plus sin theta by j. 1 by j is nothing but minus j. So if you substitute there, the equations will become as cos theta minus j sin theta, which you can write it as e power minus j theta. So this is minus j e naught cos theta minus j sin theta e power minus j theta. Now these two terms, you can write it as, that is this and this. You can write it as e power minus 4 or j4 beta 1L. Again e power j pi by 2 you have. This is again minus j e naught cos theta minus j sin theta is e power minus j theta. This is again e power minus j theta e to the power minus j 4 beta 1L. This is e power j pi by 2. Now how you can simplify this equation still? Any idea how you can simplify? What is minus j, or what is the value of e power minus j pi by 2? Any value. Either you write the
Plus, ma'am,
value.
that is plus j pi by 2.
Yeah. What is e power minus j pi by 2? This will be,
J ma'am.
That's plus, no, ma'am.
It's plus, ma'am.
okay. If it is plus, it is cos pi by 2 plus j sin pi by 2. So what
J.
is this value will be
Plus
j.
j.
Yeah. So you have here minus j. There is one more j, e naught, e to the power this you can combine and write j 2 theta, e to the power minus j 4 beta 1L. So this both you can cancel. So you'll be getting it as e naught, e to the power minus j 2 theta, e to the power minus j 4 beta 1L. So this will be the final equation of E6. Any confusions? So now you have to find out the magnitude. So till here you will have the resultant equation coming out of the precision phase shifter. Now you know to find out the magnitude, it is nothing but E out is equal to square root of E5 square plus E6 square. Similarly, how you write square root of A square plus B square, same way you're writing for the magnitude. And you know the equation of E5 is nothing but magnitude of that is nothing but E naught e to the power minus j 2 theta e to the power minus j 4 beta 1 L whole square plus one more equation of E6, that is E naught e to the power minus j 2 theta e to the power minus j 4 beta 1 L whole square. Now, if you take the magnitude of this, what is the expression you get? What is the expression you get for this? If you take the magnitude of E5 square and E6 square. This is square
E naught
root.
square, mom.
What?
E naught square.
Yeah. Tell me the equation if you take the magnitude of this. Square root of this term plus square root of A square, square root of B square. What will be the equation here? You can see both the terms are same. E naught e to the power minus j 2 theta e to the power minus j 4 beta 1 L. So you'll get 2 times of this equation, correct? If you do addition, so it is 2 times of E naught e to the power minus j 2 theta e to the power minus j 4 beta 1 L whole square. So you'll square and the square root will get cancelled. You will have the magnitude is root 2 E naught e to the power minus j 2 theta e to the power minus j 4 beta 1 L. So this is the final equation or E out equation in terms of magnitude, what you get for your precision phase shifter. The final equation of the magnitude. Understood? Now in this equation, if you see both the waves that what you have taken outside of your polarization, it is having a phase. If you see, the phase of the equation will be 2 theta. The j terms what you have, if you write this, it will be in terms of e to the power minus j 2 theta plus 4 beta 1 L. So the phase of the equation or phase change will be 2 theta plus 4 beta 1 L. Now, since theta can be varied, theta value, it can be varied till 0 to 360 degree. So this 4 beta 1 value will be always fixed. Theta can be varied and this particular 4 beta 1 L is fixed again at a given particular frequency, because beta is nothing but 2 pi by lambda. So this can be varied, lambda in terms of frequency, C by F. So based on changing the frequency, this value will be fixed for a particular phase shifter with 2 theta. You can rotate it and get the value of the angle. So phase shift will be mainly depending on 2 theta plus 4 beta 1 value. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Now you can start the seminar. Just a minute, I'll stop sharing. Sneha?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Oh, you can see the screen, right?
Yeah, it is same.
Okay. A very good morning to all. I'm Sneha from 6B. So today we are gonna start with waveguide T's. So before going to waveguide T's, I just wanted to give idea about what is a waveguide. So waveguide is a hollow metallic tube of uniform cross section for transmitting the electromagnetic wave. So coming to the waveguide T is a 3-port device that can be used either to divide or combine power in a waveguide system. So as you can see, this will be a port 1, this will be a port 2, and this will be a port 3. So next, why is it called as waveguide T? And why the T in the name waveguide T? So we are all familiar with the English alphabet T, which is joined at an angle of 90 degree. Even in the waveguide section are joined only at an angle of 90 degree. So the name called waveguide T. So everything has a need. So even waveguide is used for a certain purposes. So let's see how it is used. Waveguide junction are used in a microwave technology when power in a waveguide needs to be split or extracted. And there are many types of waveguide Ts, which we'll be studying later. In this PPT later. So let's see what is the purpose of studying these different kinds of waveguide Ts. So the different types of waveguide junction affect the energy contained within the waveguide in different ways. And even selecting a waveguide junction balances between performance as well as cost. So as I said, there are many types of waveguide Ts. Today we will be learning about two basic types, that is E-plane series T and H-plane shunt T. So these are named according to the axis of the side arm, which is parallel to the E field or the H field in the collinear arms respectively. So the first one will be E-plane T. As you can see here in the diagram, the rectangular waveguide, which is long, is called as collinear arm, and the shorter one is called side arm. And the side arm is cut along the breadth and placed on the collinear arm. Okay, this will be a port 1, port 2, and port 3. This port 1 and port 2 are symmetric to each other. In the sense they are of the same length. So when side arm is cut and placed along its breadth, it's called E-plane T. And when we have an input from port 3, we get output in the port 1 and port 2, which are out of phase with each other. It can be either you can give input to the port 3 or port 1 or port 2. Either way, you get the output from the other two ends, which are out of phase, 180 degree out of phase. So coming to the application, they're very effectively used in the radar and satellite communication. And even they have application in Wi-Fi devices, cordless telephone, and weather radar systems. And next type is our H-plane T. Coming to this, even this has collinear arm and side arm, but the side arm is cut along the width and placed to the collinear arm. As you can see here, the width. Whereas in E-plane, it was cut along the breadth. So that is the difference you have to notice here. And when the input is given to port 3, the output are seen in port 1 and port 2, which are in phase and will have some additives. And coming to the application of H-plane T, it is used in broadcast services, space shuttles, and space speed detection. I wanted to say about the differences. This is coming to the E-plane. It is also known as series T, and H plane, it is known as shunt T. And E plane, it is connected in series with a branch or section of main waveguide transmission line. The side arm axis is parallel to the electric field. And whereas in H plane, it is connected in shunt with a branch or section of main waveguide transmission line. The side arm axis is parallel to the H plane. And the other difference is for E plane is the side arm receives the wave as an input. The waves at the collinear arms will have same magnitude and opposite phase as that of the side arm. And for the H as input to the collinear arm, the output at the third port will be the cumulative value of both the inputs. Similarly, if the input wave is fed to the third port, it gets split equally between the first two ports. It doesn't matter where you are giving the input, the output will be split between the other two ports. So this is the difference shown in the picture. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sneha. It was good. Okay. So moving on to the waveguide section. So waveguide T, as she has already told you, what is actually a waveguide T? Waveguide T, or you have couplers, are junctions or networks which are having 3 or more ports. So either you will have 3 ports or you will have more than 3 ports. So those are nothing but your waveguide Ts. Now waveguide T are used for the purpose of connecting a branch section of waveguide. Either you can connect it in series or you can connect it in terms of parallel. So when a waveguide T is formed, so you have 3 waveguides interconnected. It is in the form of English alphabet. So you have a waveguide 3 is a 3-port junction. Since it is in the form of alphabet T, so which is, there is interconnection of 3 lines. So that is nothing but a 3-port junction. Now, as she has already told you that 90-degree concept. So based on that, the waveguide T is created. So the waveguide T are used to connect branch or section of waveguide in series or parallel with the main waveguide transmission line. Either you can split or combine the power in the waveguide system. So if you want to see the power, how it is splitting to other ports or how you can combine from the other ports. So based on that, the waveguide Ts will be used. Now, basically, there are 2 types of Ts called as H-plane T and E-plane T. H-plane T is nothing but your magnetic, E-plane T is nothing but your electric. Now, the combination of these 2 junctions, it will give you one more T called as hybrid T or magic T. So you have in the communication lab also one experiment related to this E-plane T, H-plane T, where you can see how the power is coming out of port 1, port 2 and port 3. So the combination of E-plane and H-plane will give you a hybrid tree, or it is called as magic T. Now coming to the first one, which is called as E-plane T, or it is called as series T. If you see the figure, you can see there are 3 ports. Now E-plane T is a waveguide in which axis of its side arm is parallel to the E field of main guide if the collinear arms are symmetric about the side arm. What is the meaning of collinear? What do you mean by collinear? You have studied in maths, very basic concept. What is collinear? No idea. So you have 2 or 3 points or more than 3 points lying on a same line or same position in a linear way, then it is called as collinear arm. Say there are A, B, C, D, E, F, some 5, 6 points lying on the same line. So that is nothing but collinear. So here port 1 and port 2 are called as collinear because they lie on the same line. The other one is your side arm, which is nothing but your port 3. So collinear arms are perpendicular to it, are symmetric to each other. And there is at the center, exactly at the center, the port 3 side arm is placed, which will give you a T structure. Now, if the E-plane T is perfectly matched, such that the match condition will be done here. Inside your E-plane T, there will be a screw turners based on tuners. Based on that, they will match it properly so that the E-plane T will not give you any reflections. So the diagonal components of the scattering matrix are 0 because there is no reflection. So this we'll study when we do the derivation. So when the waveguide waves are fed into the side arm, say port 3, you're giving the input. The waves appearing at port 1 and port 2 of the collinear arm will be opposite phase and in same magnitude. Now, if you give the input to port 3, port 1 and port 2 will give you the same output, but will be in opposite phase, but the magnitude will be same. Now, this is one example how your phase changes. So I've told you we'll be giving the input to port 3. When the section here where your intersection of these three T's are there or these three ports are there, you will have the direction change. Now here, actually the input is given to your port 1. When you give input to port 1, this because of the structure, the direction is changing and you are getting the variations towards this direction. Whereas if you see here, the direction is this. So when you compare your port 3 and port 2, they are different in phase. Similarly, if you give for your port 3, again the output here will be different comparing to this. Suppose consider this is the input where you're giving. See the direction of your port 1 and port 2. So the direction of this changes because of your TE10 mode, dominant mode. So you will have opposite phase for E-plane T, whereas the magnitudes will be same. This is one example where you're giving input to port 1. So you have output port 2 and output port 3. So both are again out of phase. Similarly, if you give port 3 as input, see the phase of port 1 and port 2, both are different. So whenever you have to remember the important point in E-plane T is because when you do the derivation also, you have to apply this phase change concept. So when you give input to one port, you will get the outputs across two ports, but within phase shift, but equal magnitude. Now this particular E-plane T, it is also called as series T because axis of its side arm, that is this particular port 3, which is called as side arm, is parallel to the electric field of main guide, that is this guide. So electric field, what it flows, it is series, that is parallel to the side arm, so it is called as series T. Port 3, you know, it is called as E arm or side arm. Port 1 and 2 are called as collinear arm. If power is fed into port 3, it is equally divided into arms 1 and 2. Output power appearing at port 1 and 2 of collinear arm will be equal in magnitude, 180 degree out of phase. Again, this is one more. If power is either fed to port 1 or port 2, this will appear at port 3 as difference between port 1 and port 2. It also known as differences. Now you have to derive the S matrix for E-plane T. When you derive the S matrix, you have to mainly remember, you have to write the S parameter values for a 3-port network. Writing the S parameter, then applying all the reciprocal net and symmetry properties, you're going to derive the E-plane S matrix equation. So for a 3-port network, what will be the S parameter values or S parameter matrix for 3-port network? Anybody? You understood the concept of E-plane T. So you will have ports like this. This is port 3, this is port 1, this is port 2. If you give the input to port 1 or port 3, you will be getting the output across port 1, again output across port 2. But the difference is, suppose if you apply the input here, you will be getting the output in terms of, say if you get output here in this term, port 2 will be 180 degree, just opposite of your port 1. That is the general concept of E-plane T. Whenever you give the input, other two ports will be giving you the outputs, but opposite phase and same magnitude. Now tell me, there are 3 ports. So what will be the S matrix for 3-port network? What is the S matrix?
S11, S12, S13.
S11, S12, S13, S21, S22, S23. Similarly, S31, S32, S33. So this is the representation of a 3-port S matrix. Now, 3-input port S matrix. Now you have to find out what is S11, what is S12, S13. Based on that, you have to find out the S parameter for E-plane T or S matrix for E-plane T. Now, before that, you have to remember what are the main characteristics of your E-plane T. If I talk about characteristics, now you know, because of the symmetry, port 3, if you consider in the E-plane T, this is port 1 as well as port 2. Because of the plane of symmetry, microwave power will be fed into your port 3. And you know, it will be equally divided across your port 1 as well as port 2 with a phase shift of again 180 degree, which means that suppose if I write input across, in terms of scattering matrix, 3 should be the input source, output should be coming out of port 1. Similarly, 3 should be the input, output should be coming out of port 2. So these two values which you have, that is S31 and your S32, both are equal but in opposite phase. Once again, I'll tell you, you are giving port 3 as the input, port 1 and port 2, you are taking the output. Now with a 180 degree phase shift. Since you are writing the S parameter, we know input is given to port 3, output you are taking from port 1, because if you remember Sij, initial scattering coefficient definition, I is the source which is connected, J is the output. So 3 is the input which you are giving. From port 1, the output is taken. Similarly, port 3 input is given, port 2 output is taken, which is nothing but S31 and S32. Now, according to the definition of E-plane T, port 1 and port 2 will give you the same magnitude output but opposite in phase. So you will have S31 is equal to minus of S32, or you can write it as S32 is equal to minus of S31. Anything is fine. So this is one important equation you have to remember. The next condition what you have is, this is the first characteristics. Second is, if you take the port 3 is perfectly matched. We know that when we say perfectly matched is nothing but SII, which for an input will be always equal to 0. So in such condition, the input is given here is 3. So across S33, it is equal to 0. Whichever port is perfectly matched, that particular value will go to 0. So here, port 3 is perfectly matched, which means that S33 will be equal to 0. So in a microwave junction, all the ports cannot be simultaneously matched, because then you cannot get this diagonal elements. S11, S22, S33, what you have, all 3 will become 0. So you cannot take at a time all 3 ports to be matched. Any one port, whichever you give the input for or which port you consider as an input for that particular port, a microwave junction, this port will be perfectly matched. And therefore in S matrix, you can say that all the diagonal elements will not go to 0, or this matrix will not go to, or reflection coefficient will not go to 0. That is the second condition. Third condition, what you have to take is, from the symmetry property of your S matrix, that is your reciprocity theorem, you know that Sij is equal to Sji. So if I apply this concept to this matrix, which all terms can change? Can you tell me? If I apply Sij, Sji according to the reciprocity theorem, that is your symmetry property, which all equations can be written in terms of symmetry First three terms will remain same. Tell me.
S12, ma'am.
S12,
becomes S12.
yeah, S22.
S10.
Okay, this you don't write
Yes.
till now. You can just write it as S23 for time being. Then it is, you have S13. This also,
S13, ma'am.
yeah, this also you keep it like that.
S23.
Yeah, S33. So you can write for S11 as well as S13, S31. So these many symmetry property can be applied for this. Now from the
Ma'am,
yeah.
T2 can be written as S23, no, ma'am.
Yeah, you can write it. This also can be written as, just a minute. This also can be written as S23. But again, we will be finding out the value for this. That is your S23. So this value will be changing based on the expression what you get when we do the derivation. So this is how you write the three characteristics based on the properties. Now, first property you write with respect to the ports, where you get the value of S31 is equal to minus S32. Similarly, second one we'll be writing for perfectly matched, where you get the value S33 is equal to 0. Then apply the symmetry property, Sij is equal to Sji, where you get S11, S12, S13, again S11, S22, S23, S13, S23, and S33. Till here it is fine. Is that okay? Okay. Now moving on to next, one more condition from this characteristic impedance is, so you know that S12 is also, or if you take S23, this is also equal to S32. This S32 will be your port 2 which you are giving with respect to the input, and port 2 you are taking the output. Similarly, this can also be written as minus S31. S23 can also be written as S32, but you know, because of the property of the input, this is also equal to minus S31. So I'll write it here, but you know that S13 is equal to S31. So I can write for S23 as minus S13. This equation, if you don't understand, ask me once again. S23, based on symmetry property, you can write it as S32. But we know that S32 is also equal to minus S31. So I'll write it as minus S31. S13 is also equal to S31 based on the symmetry property Sij is equal to Sji. So I can completely replace S23 as minus S31. So now this S parameter changes. So S matrix will be now written as S11, S12, S13. This will be again S12. This will be S22. Here you actually have the value S23. Instead of S23, I'll write it as minus S13. Similarly, this will be S13. This is again S32. S32 can also be written as S23. S23 can also be written as minus S31. So it is minus S13. This value we know it is 0, S33. Any confusion in writing? If you have not understood, ask me once again. Because if you understand this, directly you can do the other two derivations, H-plane T as well as magic T. Fine. Okay. Now we'll move to the next step. Now considering this S parameter to unitary matrix, if I write the equation, you know that S matrix with your S complex matrix, this is equal to your unitary matrix. Now this matrix you have to write and substitute, that is S11, S12, S13, S12, S22 minus S13, S13 minus S13, 0. Now this is complex conjugate of your S matrix, which will be writing it as S11 star, S12 star, S13 star. Similarly, S12 star, S22 star minus S13 star, S13 star, S1 minus S13 star 0. What will be the unity matrix for this? Anybody? What will be unitary matrix for this particular 3-port network?
1 0 0
1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1. Good. So you'll have the diagonal elements 1. Now you have to consider first row. Consider the first row of first matrix and first row of second matrix. And you have to equate it. Again, first row of first matrix, then first column of the first matrix. Sorry, it is column. First column of the second matrix. Then equate it to 0. Sorry, 1. So the equation will be S11 into S11 star plus S12 into S12 star plus S13 into S13 star, which is equal to 1. Then similarly, you have to write for the next one, that is S12, S12 star, S22, S22 star, S13, that is negative, again negative will become plus, S13 into S13 star. So that will be S12, S12 star plus S22, S22 star plus S13, S13 star is equal to 1. Again, the last equation you have S13, S13 star plus S13, S13 star is equal to 1. Consider the first row and first column. Similarly, this row, this column, this row, and this column equate to these 3 ones. Any confusions? Okay. Make this equation as 1, this equation as 2, and the third equation as 3. Any idea how can you simplify this? What is the value of S11 into S11 star? Or how you can write anything which is written in the real and complex conjugate term? What is A into A star? When you write A into A star, what is this actually?
1.
Okay, 1 is one more value. It is actually the magnitude what we take, if you remember. A and A star is nothing but the magnitude of that particular value what you take. So you can write it as, for the first equation, that is S11, this will be magnitude of S11 square plus magnitude of S12 square plus magnitude of S13 square is equal to 1. This is from 1. So you can make this equation as 3. Similarly, if you write for from 1, 2, and 3,
4, mom, equation 4.
equation 4. So this will be magnitude of S12 square plus magnitude of S22 square plus magnitude of S13 square is equal to 1. This will be magnitude of S13 square plus magnitude of S13 square, which is equal to 1. So this will be equation 5. This will be equation 6. Now, any idea? Any one value? Can you get it from here? Any one matrix?
S13 square, ma'am.
Yeah, you can get it from the equation 6. You have S13 square, magnitude of S13 square is equal to 1, which will become 2 times of your magnitude of S13 square. So you can get the value as, this is 2 times of S13 square is equal to 1. So S13 square is equal to 1 by 2. So you have S13 value as 1 divided by square root of 2. So this is one equation what you get from this. Any confusions? Write the equations, first row, first column, then consider the magnitude. From that, consider this equation and you will get the S13 value. Now, the second equation, what you will be doing is, you need to compare. Compare equation 1 and 2. If you compare equation 1 and 2, what are the values you can get? That is, compare 1 and 2. You can write it here. That is magnitude of S11 square plus magnitude of S12 square plus magnitude of S13 square, which is also equal to magnitude of S12 square plus magnitude of S22 square plus magnitude of S13 square. Any terms can be cancelled.
S13 square and S12 square.
S13 square, then S12 square, because you know both are equal. So from this you will get the relation magnitude of S11 square is equal to magnitude of S22 square, which is also equal to S11 is equal to S22. So if you find out one value, that can also be equal to S22 value. This equation you can make it as 8. Any confusions? Okay, I think it's time. So we'll continue with tomorrow. The derivation. Still, there are many steps, other values to find out. So let me know if you don't understand anything. Now clear the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We'll continue tomorrow.
Thank you, ma'am.